you tend to compartmentalize your life between one location and the next. Mario Party is schadenfreude. Ryuga Gotoku is not a historical text. What do you think user-generated content is? Projected video essay titles, tag 1. Top 10 things to like about Kingdom Hearts. Number 1, I don't have to play it. Top 10 YouTubers from the aughts who still inspire me. Mass Effect 1, A Galaxy Left Behind. It's always really bothered me how human-centric the world building of Mass Effect 2 and 3 are compared to Mass Effect 1. In the first Mass Effect, although humans are at the center of the story, it's from this fish-out-of-water perspective which gives the writers good excuses to embellish the other races of the universe. You learn a whole lot about other species in Citadel space because a huge part of Mass Effect's central narrative is finding a space for humanity among them. In this case, humanity is you, the player, representing the best and worst we have to offer. Although humans are underdogs in the political structures of Mass Effect 1, they are also not the only ones in this position. Tons of civilizations vie for a council seat and view humans as strong competition, and it's a decent commentary on the distribution of power and the privileges certain people have. But Mass Effect 2 and 3 doesn't really focus on the world Mass Effect 1 built, mostly because the world as we know it in Mass Effect 1 is irrevocably changed by your actions. Mass Effect 2 victimizes the previously privileged humans who are now in big power. Suddenly, Mass Effect isn't so much about the effect you have on the world around you, and more about how the world affects you. You work for space Nazis, humans seem to be the only species being targeted by terrorist attacks. The biblical symbolism goes from being a small part of the story's cohesion to literally making Shepard out to be a Jesus Christ metaphor, even though we already had a Jesus and Judas in the first game. It'd be great to get another Mass Effect, which criticizes this new world view in Mass Effect 2, except the world as we know it in Mass Effect 2 is irrevocably changed by your actions. The whole thing seems very antithetical to the original vision the series started out with. Mass Effect 3 makes humanity the sole saviors and guiding light to salvation and really brings home this change in direction for Mass Effect. Humanity goes from being the underdogs who also have to face the fact they have an unfair advantage in the galactic rat race bestowed upon them by systemic powers, to victims of targeted harassment due to their success, to holy warriors emboldened by an attack on home soil. Ooh, that sounds familiar. Yeah. Taking a post-colonialism lens to this series is a great way to ruin it for you. But if you notice, as the series goes on, the world of Mass Effect as established in the first game ceases to exist, and the other species you share the galaxy with dwindle down into just your companions. It's sort of impressive how BioWare managed to establish this amazing world of interesting people and cultures, and then turned those people into token characters. How do you manage that? How do you turn a person you've written yourself into a tokenism of themselves? Wild. Well, at least future Mass Effects will still be able to explore the established world with a little more depth. Oh wait, that's right. The world as we know it in Mass Effect 3 is irrevocably changed by our actions. So anything goes, I guess. Why FF7 Remake is not a multimedia marketing ploy. It is. Breath of the Wild is just like every other open world game, you just like Zelda and also The Witness. Yahaha. Yep. Pretty sure this is the one that gets me assassinated. SMT demon negotiations are better than Pokeballs. There's something that feels really annoying about throwing a Pokeball and having to sit there and wait to see if the random chance modifiers you've invested in work out for you. I can't stand it. A lot of games have done monster taming over the years, and they all have different ways of creating a challenge around it. But no game has done it better than the original monster capture game. The Shin Megami Tensei series uses a negotiation minigame between you and the demon you want, and it's almost as random as throwing a Pokeball, but the social aspect is a fun game in and of itself. Demons ask you for items and money, they ask you bizarrely deep questions about yourself, or test you by behaving a certain way. Your success in capturing the demon depends on your answers and whether or not you give them the items you want, but you shouldn't always answer yes. Some demons don't want to hang out with a pushover or a total sucker. Sometimes the items they ask for are way above their pay grade. There's no way I'm giving a slime a party-wide heal or revive item, for example. You might not have ever played an SMT game, but I bet you've played Pokemon. What if I told you there used to be a monster catching mechanic in Pokemon which resembled demon negotiations? It's called the Safari Zone. A place where you can find Pokemon unique to the area, but with a catch. You can't use your Pokemon in the Safari Zone. So what you had to do was feed them, throw rocks at them, and watch their behavior to see how best to proceed. A good Safari Zone catch was about luring a Pokemon into a certain state of emotion and then throwing your Pokeball at it in the hopes you'd earned its trust or respect. It still revolved around the random chance of Pokeballs, but always felt a lot better to screw up than watching a 1 HP sleeping Pokemon break out of the catch at the last second. Part of demon negotiations is sussing out whether or not what you're getting into is a good deal, or if the demon is outright lying to you in the first place. This social interaction you're having with them obfuscates the obvious random nature of the gameplay feature and makes it feel like you have actual agency in convincing this character to join forces with you. So when they do, you feel a tighter connection with this new party member whose respect you earned, as opposed to adding yet another Pokemon into your Pokemon box, where it will sit forever. Failing a demon negotiation because you turned down a trade doesn't feel bad, because in your mind, it's probably a deal you'd never agree to. You made the right decision, this demon's an asshole, forget them, you'll find someone else to fill the roster. I really wish more developers tried to reimagine demon negotiations in their monster taming / monster catching games. It's a lot more fun to fail a negotiation than it is to watch a capture device malfunction. It's more interesting to build a rapport with the monster you're trying to recruit. The Dreamcast is a Shenmue machine. If Shenmue had been put on the GameCube, no one would care about the Dreamcast. There are 67 games still on the Dreamcast exclusively, and most of them don't really matter. A quarter of them are sports games with better iterations elsewhere. The listing I found is also technically inaccurate. Evolution 2 is the second half of the Evolution Worlds remaster on GameCube. Yeah, the Dreamcast and Wii U were both consoles with interesting ideas, which ultimately weren't all that practical. Case in point, most of the Wii U lineup has been ported to other systems in the few years since its retirement, and no one talks about it anymore. Same thing should have happened to the Dreamcast. That's it. That's the video. Columbo's son rates Paper Mario partners based on how likely they are to drown. All right, time to do something I've never done before. Write comedy. First things first, the Koopas, 10 out of 10. Turtles are decent swimmers and Koopas have humanoid proportions, which means they've got enough arm length. Beautiful butterfly stroke, not like the Goombas. No arms, really tiny ball feet, very top-heavy creatures. You know, a Goomba's like a lawn dart. You chuck one into the air, guaranteed it's gonna land on its head. They're predisposed to sinking that way, basically a big rock. That being said, these two are pretty smart, which means they probably avoid most water for this reason. 2 out of 10, points for finding a solution by not engaging with the problem. Then we got the ghosts and spirits. They physically cannot drown. Points for that. But being unable to drown is not the same as being capable of not drowning, so unfortunately, they don't get the full Monty. 5 out of 10, both blessed and cursed by the laws of physics. This is just a Koopa with wings! Oh, 10 out of 10, love the security redundancy. We stand a fashion-forward, safety-conscious Koopa. An actual fish. An actual, factual fish. No points. Disqualified for cheating. Okay, Bob-ombs, I mean, it depends. I feel like this one is the better swimmer because he's dressed like a boat captain, but gunpowder floats or sinks depending on what kind it is. And I'm just gonna assume Bob-omb bodies are composed of like 70% reusable regenerating gunpowder. Assuming it's light enough to float inside a barrel, I'm gonna say a Bob-omb will just naturally rise to the surface of a body of water. 6 out of 10. Eventually those barrels still sink. Better start doggy paddling. You know what? Give Bombette an extra point since she's probably lighter. You ever seen a Yoshi swim? Yeah, that's what I thought. Absolutely baffling that a creature who, in a panic, runs along the ocean floor until it drowns or worse, dissolves when it comes into contact with water, lives on an island. Evolution and migration paths were not kind to these creatures. 4 out of 10. Points for pity. Now, you might not know this, but rats are terrific swimmers. They can swim for up to 3 days, no problem. And this particular rat can do it in heels. Absolutely amazing. 8 out of 10. Loses some points for helping pests spread the bubonic plague. Due to the natural properties of a body, her participation in any body of water would result in the electrocution of any and all other organisms within her immediate vicinity. But she can hover, meaning water is basically just a little extra friction to her. 9 out of 10. Minus 1 point for unintentional manslaughter. Ugh. Lakidus. Lakidus don't even use wings like Koopas and Goombas do to fly. A Lakitu without a cloud is just a beady-eyed, shrunken-down Koopa. Can't even hold the camera in place to save their life. How the hell does anyone expect them to have the arm strength to swim? 0 out of 10. Uses performance-enhancing clouds. I played 400 hours of Animal Crossing, and I don't think I was supposed to. I'm a big proponent of Animal Crossing adding time acceleration and letting players advance into the next day, so it might surprise you to learn that I also don't think Animal Crossing is actually meant to be played all year round. Animal Crossing is intentionally slow. There's aspects of said speed in New Horizons which are ludicrous and overkill. I should be able to craft multiple items at once. I should be able to go to Captain Island tours more than once a day. Nook Miles and Bells are already a huge time sink for players to invest in, so it makes no sense to add daily limits, especially if you're trying to discourage people from advancing to the next day by changing their Switch's internal clock. But Animal Crossing is largely designed to wean the player off of, well, playing it over time. A big part of Animal Crossing's whole deal is being a social game which also attempts to inspire the player to go out and try activities they do in-game in real life. You're supposed to try on clothes in Animal Crossing and then be motivated to try some on at your nearest thrift store. Go fishing, go hang out with friends, plant some flowers in your backyard or get a succulent or whatever. When I see people complain Animal Crossing doesn't have enough content, I am also painfully aware these same people have hundreds of hours in it. Listen, it's run its course. You've outplayed it. It's time to put the game down. For some weird reason, people equate progress you've made in developing your house or town in Animal Crossing as the pacing of the game or the amount of content. This confuses the hell out of me because those aspects are such a small part of what you actually do in Animal Crossing. If you're just trying to make money to expand your house and decorate it, then you're missing a huge part of the point. I see a lot of complaints that not every month has a holiday event to participate in, and again, you probably aren't supposed to be experiencing all of them in one single playthrough. Animal Crossing's year-round events are there to give you a different experience whenever you come back to it for another 1 to 3 month stint. Its year-round calendar is designed to prevent players from doing the same scripted events every time they come back. This is why, with each iteration, Animal Crossing has become more forgiving to players who leave town for a long time and come back in short bursts once in a while. No, the Animal Crossing villagers aren't more bland. They're just being kinder to you, you masochist. The point is, the game isn't flooding you with content because it's not trying to, or supposed to be doing that. The game is also not made for content creators to squeeze content out of. I cannot stress this enough. If you're a content creator making hundreds of hours of Animal Crossing content, your job is difficult. But it's not what this game is designed around facilitating. It's made to facilitate real-life living and inspire the confidence to do those things in real life. I've played over 400 hours of Animal Crossing New Horizons and over 2,000 hours of the Animal Crossing series, and I don't think I was supposed to, because I'm pretty sure it's been asking me to go outside since I was 9. Top 10 Kairi moments in Kingdom Hearts. List of people of color in Dragon Quest. I respond to comments from videos people didn't like. The Old Republic and the Sith EA Empire. EA, what the hell is wrong with you? You know what? You don't need to answer that. I know what the hell's wrong with you. More importantly, why are you sabotaging what could easily be your Final Fantasy XIV? Star Wars: The Old Republic is a fantastic MMO, and I'm not saying that because I got my start with Star Wars through Knights of the Old Republic, but in case you were wondering, yeah. I didn't watch the movies until I was 21 because the only thing I cared about in Star Wars was the Old Republic era. Anyways, the Old Republic is one of my favorite MMOs, and it has some really good writing lying in wait inside of it. Whoever wrote the Sith Inquisitor class storyline deserves a Writers Guild Award. With a huge amount of classes to choose from, many of which don't involve lightsabers, a pretty fun set of PvP modes focused more on objectives and the use of crowd control abilities, and a legacy system allowing you to create your own headcanon for your characters, including player-owned housing for all of your characters within that legacy, the Old Republic is full of interesting innovations on the MMO formula that most people will never get the chance to see, because its free-to-play model is absolute garbage meant to prey on Star Wars whales who will pay tons of money for crap. Old Republic classes are so diverse. I've played a bounty hunter, a smuggler, a Sith Inquisitor, a Jedi Guardian, a Republic Commando, and their rotations and abilities are so different that each class makes the Old Republic feel like a different game. But unless you bite the bullet and pay for the subscription well before you're certain you're going to enjoy the MMO, you have almost no control over your gameplay experience. The Old Republic on free-to-play locks hotbars behind paywalls. The Old Republic on free-to-play limits the amount of in-game currency you can carry on a character to an excruciatingly small amount and dangles the surplus in front of you like a carrot on a string. The Old Republic is rife with loot boxes for cosmetic items. I don't think you can even use certain channels in free-to-play mode. Being able to pay a flat rate for subscription perks is kind of nice because ideally you'd eventually have most of everything except for maybe the free allowance of premium currency being a subscriber gives you. But the Old Republic's free-to-play model completely keeps potential subscribers away from the features of the game which would convince them to subscribe. And it just sucks, man. It sucks that so much good work goes into this game and no one knows about it because the business side of things completely ruins curiosity and interest in it. I've been so close to convincing friends of mine to play the Old Republic, and it always falls apart at how incredibly invasive the free-to-play model is. Don't lock basic UI functionality behind a paywall. I mean, come on! Reasons to like Koichi Sugiyama. He's dead.